I just want to talk about some of the crazy, um, I don't know what to say. It's so depressing. I, it's like I want to do content, right? But it's so unnecessarily depressing to do it. And to know that at any moment I could become an enemy of the state arbitrarily. And they will do it. They will make me an enemy of the state. I mean, look at this. Israel's axis of death for Palestinians. I took many clothes for my children because the cold in the tents was unbearable. I also brought clothes for my wife and many other things. They forced me to throw away everything I had, clothes, supplies, and even took my phone. I saw a large hole filled with items from other displaced families, discarded as though they didn't matter. I thought they would arrest me, but in the morning they let me go, naked. It's the middle of the fucking winter. Just remember, you can watch all kinds of videos of violence on YouTube. All kinds of videos. I was just watching Starship Trooper videos. Where they show all kinds of violence. People getting their legs cut off, stabbed through the chest and the heart. There's a Resident Evil clip. It's the worst scene in any movie in history. It's the laser room scene of the Resident Evil movie, the first one, where I think like 4 or 5 people get killed by lasers. But you have people censoring curse words in these videos. You watch people get decapitated, cut in half, literally dismembered. I mean, there's a guy who literally looks like a checkerboard dismembers him. He gets cut up into tiny, tiny little checkered pieces because of this laser in Resident Evil. But if you curse, if you dare curse, I mean, it's just unreal. It's unreal. Last week, this is the second paragraph, okay? Last week, a Haaretz investigation revealed that hundreds of Palestinians, including children, have been indiscriminately shot dead by Israeli soldiers at the Netzarim corridor. It has been designated a, quote, kill zone by the Division 252 commander, according to a senior officer, allowing soldiers to shoot, quote, anyone who enters. Those killed are posthumously branded terrorists, even if they're children. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. There was this is one of the most troubling ones I've seen lately. Is babies freezing to death. Babies, 20-day-old infants are freezing to death in Gaza. It's incredibly psychologically disconcerting and troubling. But you talk to Americans, they don't care. Americans simply don't care. The majority. I mean, there's a lot of people. Sure, there's a lot of people waving their Palestinian flags. I think it's great. You do see coverage of it to some extent. You do feel some kind of hope. But for the most part, you're just talking to zombies. Nobody really cares about this shit, and they're not willing to do anything about it. They're not going to compromise their comforts over it. And neither am I. I'm a fucking coward. That's why. I literally don't know what to do. I'm like paralyzed. What do I do? Go to Washington, D.C. and hold a protest so that I can be branded a terrorist? Abandon my family? No, I'm just trying to make a living. I just don't want my government to be murdering people. And they do it all the time. They do it all the time. And they've given Israel carte blanche to go and murder all these Palestinian people, displace them, bomb them here, tell them to go there, bomb them there, tell them to go somewhere else, bomb them somewhere else. And it's with such regularity. And they lie. They lie about everything. I mean, it's so nuts. It's so absolutely nuts. They just lie and lie and lie. The worst part about all of this to me is that these Israelis that commit all these murders, they don't want to call themselves Nazis. They don't want to call themselves Nazis because Nazi is considered to be a bad term, even though it accurately describes them. The association with the word is negative, and so therefore they don't use that language. They don't use that language. So there's something to be said about people who refuse to use language that accurately describes themselves, whether out of delusion or convenience or mendacity. One of those three, right? But commit the crimes of those people anyway. You act like them. You quack like a duck. You're a duck. Sorry. Born in the heat of war, dead from the cold. If it bleeds, it leads, right? I mean, it's all great until it's your family freezing to death in one of these situations in the world. But I live in the United States. I have comforts afforded to me here that are completely denied to people in other parts of the world simply because of where they live and because they are outside the legal jurisdiction of the United States. So it's the craziest thing, right? They're not under U.S. law, and therefore the United States feels that they can just murder them arbitrarily and all the time. This isn't even the worst one. Let's see. I cannot sleep. In the suffocating darkness, I feel their breaths beneath their noses to ensure they haven't frozen to death yet. I cannot sleep. I'm on the verge of madness. I would be too. I am on the verge of madness. I feel it in my heart. It's destabilizing. It's psychologically destabilizing. It makes you feel alone and guilty because I'm not doing anything about it. All I'm doing is I'm streaming. I'm trying to spread the word. I'm trying to do something. I want to get back in these protests. I want to do something. I'm spreading the word. Boycott Unilever, by the way. Boycott Unilever. Fuck that company. Oh, Netanyahu had prostate surgery? And there it is. If I wish harm on this guy, I'm called a bad guy. But this guy can command his entire military to commit a genocide. Because I have to be better than him. I have to be better than the bad people. Otherwise, my words hold no weight. The problem with being better today, however, is if you try to be too good, you will either be politically assassinated or you will be assassinated. Simply for defending yourself. And with all the extrajudicial, or I should say, street executions that our government put out every single year in the United States, I mean, some estimates have around 2,500 people getting killed by the government in the United States every year. That's on the street. That's outside of being executed by the state, right? You're in a chair, you're in an electric chair. No, I'm talking about a cop pulls up to you and shoots you dead Palestinian infants freeze to death amid Israeli siege. And this is what I'm talking about, the indiscriminate killing. It's not going to stop here. It's not going to stop here. Any dissidents are up for killing, including myself. This is 4 days ago. Israel kills 5 journalists in clearly marked press vehicle in Gaza. This is Nazi behavior. Except Israel has weapons that are 80 years more advanced than the Nazis did. 80 years more advanced than what the Nazis had. Obliterating people, blowing them to tiny little pieces. If you saw one photo of these people who were obliterated, it would make you uncomfortable. And hundreds of thousands of them are dead. Don't believe these stupid numbers that they're giving you, 50,000 people or whatever. I don't know what the latest statistic is. That's not the real number. War creates untold collateral damage outside of just the direct killings, outside of just the bullets and the explosions. The destruction of infrastructure, medical facilities, society, community, the ability to shelter. Not just shelter, but create. The ability to manufacture what you need. All of that's destroyed. The equivalent of 2 atomic bombs have been dropped on Gaza. And they're not stopping. They're attacking Yemen. They've attacked Syria. They've overthrown Syria with the help of Al-Qaeda. This is one of the most disturbing ones. I'll read it for you. Imagine this was a 4-year-old you know. Actually imagine it. A new commander came to us. We went out with him on the first patrol at 6 in the morning. He stops. There's not a soul in the streets. Just a little 4-year-old boy playing in the sand in his yard. The commander suddenly starts running, grabs the boy, who's Palestinian, and breaks his arm at the elbow and his leg here. Stepped on his stomach 3 times and left. We all stood there with our mouths open, looking at him in shock. I asked the commander, "What's your story?" He told me, "These kids need to be killed from the day they are born." When a commander does that, it becomes legit. He doesn't end his story with, "Oh, that was disgusting." No, he's totally behind it. He's like, oh, that was badass. We should kill more 4-year-olds. And these are the sick fucking people who will kill you too. They'll murder you. There's a total dehumanization here. You don't really treat them as if they are human beings. In retrospect, the hardest thing for me is what I felt, or actually what I didn't feel when I was there. It bothers me that it didn't bother me. Oh, well, good for fucking you that it didn't bother you. You still hung out there. But it's rough for me to blame this guy, but fuck this guy. I'm just going to read the part on the right. I have no problem with women. One threw a slipper at me, so I gave her a kick here, pointing to the groin. Broke all this here. She can't have children today. X shot an Arab 4 times in the back and got away with the self-defense claim. 4 bullets in the back from a distance of 10 meters. Cold-blooded murder. We did things like that every day. The most moral army in the world, people. Shooting people in the back. Just like our police does. Just like our police does. And they get away with it. And they'll keep getting away with it because this is the culture that we're tolerating. This is the culture that we tolerate here in the United States. Therefore, it's going to be the culture that we tolerate in other countries. That's simply how it is. That's why you can call a guy with a sword barbaric, but you don't call a pilot who drops a bomb that kills 200 people barbaric. I don't even know how to describe that type of mental gymnastics that it would take for somebody to look at someone with a sword and call them barbaric simply because they're Durka Al-Qaeda versus a U.S. military service person dropping a bomb in the most cowardly way possible on a population of however many people and killing a bunch of them and maiming a bunch of them and destroying their lives and destroying their families. Left to our own devices, I mean, the people of the United States have no fun. They're scared of their own shadow is really what it is. And it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse from here. There's no coming back from this. They actually got rid of the photo of... I'm a little irritated. Not irritated, but they got rid of the photo of the 20-year-old baby, 20-day-old baby who froze to death. Let's see if I can find it. And there it is. There it is. Dead baby. How does that make you feel, YouTube? You're censoring people who are trying to uncover this kind of shit. Like me. I mean, it's amazing that a baby could even be born under these conditions. And now they're only born so that they can freeze to fucking death. And my tax dollars are doing that. My tax dollars are doing that. Supporting this Nazi fucking regime in Israel. Look at this. Look at these tiny little human beings. Wrapped up, dead, on the floor. surrounded by people. And these numbers are way off. These numbers are way off. And way more people are dead. And way more people are going to die. Because that's what happens in these things. And you want to have hope, but I don't have hope anymore. I don't. Here's what I really think is going to happen. The United States and Israel are going to finish the job. They're going to final solution these people. They won't call it that, right? Because they lie and they're crafty with their words and they know how to use language to make Americans feel comfortable with the murder that they're doing. But that's what they're going to do. That's what they're doing. That's probably what their internal memos have. They probably have final solution all over their internal memos. Big red X on Palestine. Fuck these people. Why? No reason. According to me, they have a reason. They have a reason to murder all these fucking people. And there you go. You create a fascist state. You kill all the dissidents of that state. You kill all the intellectuals. You kill all the doctors. You kill a bunch of children. You dehumanize them to the extent that you don't even see them as people when you kill them. They're just a target. There's a Franz Kafka-esque cockroach. But mark my words, these people, these Israeli soldiers, when they grow up, because a lot of them are very young, when they grow up, a lot of them are going to buy rope to put up decorations in their homes. They're going to be so depressed over the crimes that they committed that they're going to want to put up decorations in their homes. And you need rope for that. There's probably mass burial sites all over Gaza. They have just giant graves that they dug up and just dumped bodies in. We've already seen it. We already saw it, and that was almost a year ago. We saw the mass graves. We saw them lining bodies up in body bags and dumping them into mass graves. What do you think that number is now? These Western countries who are all complicit in the neglect, the combined murder and neglect of these people, there isn't a pit in hell deep enough for them. He's holding a dead baby. And I want to remind you, they'll kill you too. They will murder you too. If it's politically convenient for them to do it, they will murder you in a heartbeat if you go against them. That's how these people operate. They're unhinged. They're completely unhinged. They don't care. They do not care. They're terrorists. Okay? They're the true definition of terrorists. They're not just like, oh, we have swords and whatever. I have one car. I'm going to run over a bunch of people. No, they have the entire backing of the entire military-industrial complex of Western countries. They have so much power. And they will kill you. Okay? They'll kill me. They'll kill you. And they'll kill anybody that gets in their way.
وفرت لاولاده بدل ما ادفع الثاني بالليل بضلني قاعد زي هيك دف اولادي دف اولاد اخو روح جيب الجهاز. طب كيف يطلع الجهاز الثاني؟ هلقيت يقول لك خلص عشان فيش خيم وفيش دفع مش الاسلام وين الاسلام وين المسلمين مات من السقعه تجمد. ايوه هذا الجهاز اللي اعطوني اياه امبارح بس اعطوني اياه اللي كان بجري عليه امبارح اعطوني اياه. حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل. حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل. حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل فيكم. حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل فيكم. يا الله اولادي بموتوا قدام عيني بالساقعه ما حدش مدور علينا. حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل. تجمد شايف شايف الزنبار اقول له شايف حجر تكفي واحد. ايوه حس ايدك حط ايدك ثلج ايوه ثلج.
That commander that I talked about before would have stomped on this baby. Fucking stomped on him. But the cold got to him first. The cold got to this baby first before that commander could go out there and stomp on this baby. But that's what they're doing. They're shooting children in the head. Do you understand? Unarmed children who are not doing anything are getting picked off by drone fire.
ثلج حط ايدك ثلج ايوه ثلج ايش بدك ثلج واخو الثاني جوا اخو الثاني التوم زيه جوا. لا بيد الله يا رب بيد الله يا رب.
الله يرحمه يا رب. وين خيمتك يا عم مكانها؟
البصة على البحر. انا من بيت لاهية من عطاط رغاب. بعد ما ماتوا اولادنا في المدرسة شردنا عند ام مقعدة شردت انا واولادي هذول اجوني بالحرب. استشهدوا اولاد اخوي الاثنين واخوان الاب ثلاثة. سميت واحد عسم واحد والثاني عسم ابن اخوي. اجيت بواحد هيو مات والثاني تو على طول حضانة. هاي تو حطوا حضانة لسه. عرفت كيف؟
And I got to tell you, I think Western media has just basically been given the green light to report on it to an extent, right? I mean, you're seeing NBC News and 6 more right here. I kind of want to open this.
For the children, something to make them warm.
There you go. NBC News. Children dying from hypothermia in Gaza. You're NBC News! You're just getting to this now?
ليش طلعته من الحضانه ما زلت بتقول لي خداج؟ قال بده حليب خصوص. لقيته مش حيلزم الجهاز لانه ما لقيت الجهاز هذا مقفل اول هذا ضل عايش. لقيت الله يستر حطوه من الحضانه حطوه قدامك. لا ان شاء الله
مع عائلة مين انت يا عم؟ بطران.
نعم دار بطران يا عم. من دار بطران. اسمي يحيى محمد بطران من شمال بيت لاهية من الحدود. شردنا هنا عشان شفنا الموت في عينينا. اجينا هربين من اليهود من القصف والضرب متنا من السقعة والحمد لله. انتصرنا. هذا هو النصر. تشوف ولادك قدام عينك بموتوا. هات لي جمعية انا رحت لها وفدت لي بحرام لهذا. اخو الثاني فوق توم هي توم خلي الزلمه هذا يشوفه، انا بدي الزلمه هذا يشوفه. يلا هي الثاني فوق، الثاني فوق، الثاني فوق. هي هاد والثاني فوق. وينهم؟
What do you even do? What do you do? What do you do if you're a father in that situation and everyone's getting bombed around you? You survived somehow. You've survived for 14 months of this insane genocide, which is the deliberate targeting of civilians to the extent that it exterminates a people, right? That's like, or not exterminates, but you've you've clearly qualified for the definition of genocide to this point. What do you do if you're a father? It's such a helpless feeling. I can only sit here and be helpless. And if I do anything, I'm called the bad guy. The entire weight of the empire will fall down on people who go against this. And it is. They're trying to do that. They're firing educators. They're firing people from their jobs. People are losing their licenses. Even I'm taking a huge risk just by trying to post something like this online. Objective. I'm just trying to be objective. Sometimes I just feel like I'm rambling incoherent. I mean, I don't even know what to say anymore. I'm like swinging in the dark.